This server is basically its own game directly inside of Minecraft. Unlike the typical servers with the minigames, although I did have an unhealthy addiction to Bed Wars at one point, Soulsteel transforms Minecraft into a roguelike game filled with quests, crafting, collectibles, and of course, persistent upgrades that adds massive replayability and lots of content to explore. It's as if the Vault Hunters mod pack was a game, and the best part is, no mods. You start in a canyon where the tutorial begins. You pick up the sword laid out for you and progress through the area as you learn how the mechanics of the server work. Collect health pots and other resources laid out in the dungeons, fight custom made mobs, and navigate your way to the first main area where you get to meet a quirky cast of characters. You first meet Urano, who gives you a bit of the lore of the world and introduces you to your first dungeon, the Ruined Temple. I didn't know what to expect, but the quirk of Soulsteel is that each dungeon starts with a set amount of time, in this case 30 seconds. If you don't exit the dungeon before the time limit ends, you lose everything, so strategizing your runs and keeping an eye on your time is crucial. The first few runs of this dungeon shows you how you can earn money by collecting piles of gold. You run in, grab the gold, and get out of there as fast as you can. The second run has you collect a chrono essence, which is what you'll use throughout the game to increase your time in each dungeon. The more chrono essence you collect, the more time you have for dungeon crawling. This is where the massive amount of replayability comes in, because the more time you have in the dungeons, the more loot you can collect and the more mobs you can fight, meaning you can level up your weapons faster. The last run shows you the chest mechanic. Each chest in the dungeons is locked and you need to find the key to unlock it. Once you have the key, run over to the chest and loot galore. After this last run, you chat to Urano, who shows you the cannon travel system. Hop in the cannon and it launches you to another part of the current area. It's a very cool travel mechanic in my opinion. Once you've been launched over the canyon, this is where you meet our other main character and server guide, Dana the Squire. Dana introduces you to more of the lore and tasks you with unlocking the portal to get to Port Fortuna, the main hub of the game. You head down to the pit where you're introduced to one of the final loot mechanics of the game, the locked gold stacks. In order to unlock these loot piles, you need to kill a certain number of enemies near the stack, and once you do, the barrier is lifted and you can collect the loot and be on your way. These are the big money earners of the server, so it's worthwhile to do them, and a lot of the early quests revolve around them. Now you've finally unlocked the portal and we can head to Port Fortuna. The Port Fortuna hub is bustling with shops, NPCs and other players. There's lots to explore and it's worthwhile getting familiar with each area so you know where to go if you need to buy or upgrade your gear. You head to the merchant area where you're given the choice between two weapons, the poison blade or the arcane halberd. The blade is faster and more agile, whereas the halberd is slower but stronger. I opted for the blade as I prefer the more rogue class playstyle, quick and nimble. Once you have your weapon, this is where the game truly starts and the core replay loop kicks in. Your first destination is the Old Kingdom and the first main dungeon, the Valley of Wealth. Starting with 60 seconds, I headed into the dungeon, looted and battled, and then ran back out. I also just wanted to show my first full uninterrupted dungeon run, just so you can get an idea of what the early runs look like. Collecting a nice 185 gold and 50 chrono essence. When you finish each dungeon, you're given a rank and a summary of your run. You can then immediately play again, head back to the campsite, or head back to Port Fortuna. If you go into play on this server, remember where to find the Port Fortuna quick travel button on the summary, as it'll save you a lot of time going back and forth. Just a quick side note, 50 Chrono Essence is the equivalent of around 11 seconds, so it's worth trying to collect as much as possible in the early runs. You can also level up the dungeons as you progress, so alongside increasing your time, you increase the overall level of the dungeon. As well as that, each dungeon run is different. The loot spawns are the same, but the loot that's at them might be different, so you can't plan the same run every single time, making min-maxing a bit more difficult. I did a fair few dungeon runs after this, and I'm just going to show you a montage of some of the moments from that, both good and bad. After these runs, I decided to just do some of the quests and then start exploring the open world. Although the dungeons are the core part of the gameplay, there is a whole world to explore, with mobs and even cool events that you can trigger. During my journey, I stumbled across a monster invasion event where the area I was in would be overrun with monsters. I thought I'd have to solo this, but to my surprise, 2 other players turned up, which really gave me a good feel for the multiplayer aspect of this with these random events. As someone who typically plays solo, it's quite a nice change of pace to have voluntary multiplayer events. The event started and we had to defeat 40 drybone lackeys to complete it. Together, we took all 40 down, and the reward for completing this was 2 soul essence. Now, to be fully transparent, I have no idea what the soul essence does, so if you know, drop a comment below. I know it's used for some part of the dungeon, as I've seen it on the screen there, but what its purpose is, I'm yet to find out. After doing this event, I did a bunch more runs and upgraded my gear some more before deciding to call it a day. Overall, I think that this server has a lot of potential. It's made by the Knots crew, who have a reputation for fantastic Minecraft experiences like the MCC, so I trust that this server is only going to grow and continue to get better as time goes on. The combat feels great, the leveling and replayability is satisfying without getting boring, and I can see myself spending a lot more time playing on this server. And I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something new to try.